Welcome in NFL Week 17. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. It's the Settlement boys ready for Hanukkah as Christmas Day approaches. The first night of Hanukkah is on Christmas Day, so we're calling it the Holiday Same Game Parlay. You get all of those, and then you could keep it open potentially. Keep filling it 8 days of parlays, 8 days of presents. As for our picks last week, not so merry. Jack, he had the Bears in a contentious argument. He takes the L. He falls to 5-9 on the year. Uppy, he had the Eagles, and look, shenanigans. Jalen Hurts gets hurt. He is 10-7 on the year. I had the Jets. I fall to 6-9-1 on the year. Our consensus is pending with the Green Bay Packers tonight laying a big number against New Orleans. We're taping this Monday night as, again, the holidays approach here. So short week for us. Can't expect a lot. And I buried the lead here for a reason. The guy's just as hot as it gets. Casey with the Bengals. Easy. Thanks for coming. 10-5 he is on the season. And right before we start the show, I got a notification from Fox Sports that the public crushed the sports books this past weekend. It is one of the, the best weeks for public betting. We've seen the NFL
since last week.
Since last week, right? Favorites on an incredible run. Credit Casey because he knows nothing matters anymore. Home dogs, division,
COVID.
Like nothing matters.
Welcome to the COVID of sports betting. The only one that didn't get through was Hurts. Was Philly because of Hurts. If everyone stays healthy, we're in the COVID of. I mean, that's an interesting statement, but if everyone stays healthy, we're in the COVID of sports betting. So live it while it's here, because I promise you it will end at some point.
I am just a fucking broken individual. Every favorite smashes. Eagles still have a chance to get there, and then they allow a 60-yard touchdown in a one timeout. I don't know what to fucking do. I can't pick anything right. It's just I'm hurt.
You lead the league, so you do pick a lot right on this show.
AC 10-5 is actually
and if Jack didn't stupidly take away my Seahawks, I'd be 11-5 this year.
No, because Uppy took away your losing Ravens bet against the Steelers. So
I'd be 11.
You gotta play both ways. Yeah, this season's a disaster. I can't decide if I'm upset by my record or like I just haven't been betting, honestly. Like I give my pick on the show and then I won't bet. I don't touch anything outside of
I hate this because it's like, oh well, all the idiots are winning. But when do you become the idiot when consistently all the idiots are winning money? Because it's like, it'll come back to we're in week 17. You're out of time to get you back. The public won.
You're not.
You guys were
not a 1 year sample size.
You guys were too stubborn to acknowledge what's going on. The books have gone too far, and the public is shredding. The sharps are now the public.
I don't think it's a matter of like we're stubborn. I think we are just like still being like, oh, it'll come back. Like we are totally crediting that this is what's going on here. It's just I can't help myself and be like, the second I am, I've done it a couple of times this year. Like one of the things that scared me away, right, is I gave it in the early bets was Indianapolis -4.5. I liked it. Thing closes 3.5, and I just get scared away. And I'm just like, oh, divisional home favorite, Tennessee hasn't covered in forever. It just went against everything of like classic betting narratives that and then I don't lay it. I made the game like 8, and I'm like too afraid. It's just such a loser.
Shit's fucking insane. I mean, you got Tennessee's 2-13 against the spread, and Detroit is probably the inverse of that. Yep. Normally, right? Like the Cowboys started the year, I think it was 8-0 ATS last year, and it was like this incredible run that we never saw. And I think they probably finished the season like 12-5 ATS, maybe even 13-4, like something still incredible. And it just, you would think it would catch up eventually. Bet against the Titans and bet on the Lions. I agree. What I'm saying is I'm not doing it because I'm not going. It will regress. I am extremely confident. I'm no longer betting against it, meaning like I'm not putting my own money on the line saying, okay, I love the Bears +7 in this spot. I like the pick, but it doesn't matter because it's losing. The Jets, if you watch that game, the fact that they lost by double digits was insanity.
Insane.
Like
they didn't. The Jets cover and they dropped the fucking.
The Jets didn't punt.
Yeah. Right. Like what are we doing? But that's every game this year.
Right.
So
yeah.
So with that being said, just who's got the winner?
Regardless of when it turns around, you're basically just saying the way kind of I feel is like I'll tell you when it starts to turn around the second I catch on to what Casey's doing.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna let you
end COVID. You will end COVID when you start wearing your mask.
Well, you're the guy. You're the guy.
Yeah, I'd love to. Well,
you got to lead us
first,
off.
I have 2 questions. One, do we have stats? I know EA only comes out on Wednesday. Did people do their own statistical?
I can help you a little bit in real time.
Okay. No, I wasn't looking for anything in particular. Just was curious if you had anything anti to what my pick was. And then secondly, I should have come prepared. Has anyone done the math on if me and Tim's bet is over? Depending on playoffs.
We still got playoffs, brother. No,
I know.
Not over.
But what is that? 5 weeks?
Yeah.
I'm 4 games back in the win column.
All right, we're close. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
anyways,
I'm totally toast, but yeah.
My pick. It's funny because I'm going against everything I kind of just said because I'm taking the Broncos +3.5 against the Bengals. Bengals obviously were my play last week. That was more of a DTR play and partly a Bengals play, but DTR did exactly what I needed him to do, which is be the worst quarterback active in the NFL right now. Broncos, obviously, they have extended rest. Sean Payton, a veteran coach, I like him on extended rest. Bengals, a bit of a short week. It's a Saturday game instead of a Sunday game. T. Higgins went out injured. Armarius Mims also went out injured. I think they both returned to the game. What are you laughing about?
We can't laugh at him anymore, Jack.
But no, I was.
Wait, I'm not even.
Uppy was laughing. Uppy was laughing
because I don't know who the fuck Armarius
Mims. They're tackle. Yeah. I'm not even just naming players on the roster. I'm naming injuries to key players.
No, that was a key factor. I just didn't know who the fuck it was.
Yeah, all right. T. Higgins and Armarius Mims, they both returned. Orlando Brown also didn't play last week, but was a limited participant in their last practice last week. So he may be back, but their O-line is banged up. T's been on and off the injury report the entire year. They have the short week. Broncos are off the rest. And there's a reason everyone's talking about Bengals playoffs. It's all people want to talk about. And they're already fast forwarding to when the Broncos have to go to the Chiefs and the Steelers have to play to the Bengals. But maybe there's a world where this all ends next week and the Broncos win outright. I think there's a reason that the Broncos are 9-6, and there's a reason that the Bengals are 7-8. They're very even teams, in my opinion, and I like the extended rest with the Broncos. It was very rare for what Herbert did to that secondary. I don't anticipate Burrow having as much success. Obviously, Burrow's going to do his thing. He's probably, if the Bengals make the playoffs, Burrow's my MVP pick. So I'm not doubting Burrow, but I think Bo and that offense is going to have a ton of success against what is probably the worst defense, I think, in the NFL when you pull it all together. So getting the 3 and the hook, because we love those fucking key numbers on this show. Give me the Broncos.
And you especially like 3 to 3.5.
Big for me.
That's his fan.
That's my number. That's my number.
Yeah, no, but hey.
I just don't understand why you of all people picked now after this whole COVID betting thing. Like, why would you bet the rookie quarterback on the road when you could just bet on Joe Burr? It's Icy Joe. It's Cool Joe.
Yeah, it's Cool Joe, but like, who have they been beating on this little run?
So I'm glad you brought that up. The Broncos.
Can we just first address like him, like a COVID betting thing? I think Denver's gonna be a public dog.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't. People are way too in love, I think, with Burrow.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, I obviously I have zero handle on things.
Seven straight games of 250 and 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, like Joe Burr. NFL probably post that video of him doing the spinny spin against the Bills in the playoffs again, and that'll get more Bengals money. But
like, if you acknowledge They went on a 3-game losing streak. They lost the Ravens, Chargers, Steelers. Those are 3 playoff teams. And then their 3-game winning streak is Cowboys, Titans, Browns. Those are 3 horrendous teams. Like,
100%.
I'm not saying
here's
the
the
Bengals
context.
shouldn't win this game. I just think it's 3.5 is insane for a Broncos team who is equally fighting for their playoff life.
We did this early in the season, right? And we talked about the pros and cons of this exercise, right? Cardinals played this team. Well, have they played this team? But then the sample size and how good is this team? You would think through 16 weeks you would have a better pulse on it, and you probably do. But that's what's crazy about this. Cincy, 3-game losing streak, first 3 playoff teams, 3-game winning streak against 3 bad teams. Defense has improved in those 3 games, right? Is that just a sign of who they've played? But the one thing about Denver that we're finally kind of seeing, 0-8 against teams with, 0 wins with teams with over 500 this season. They have not beaten a single team over 500 this year. And then, they're touted as one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. You think about when they play Baltimore, lose 41-10. You think about when they play the Chargers, let up 34 points to a passing attack that we discussed on this show many times. So when they've met their match, it has not gone well. Could they get into a shootout, lose this one 34-31 and cover? Yes. But I want to lean with Burrow in the offense, being able to get to Denver's defense just based off who they've played and how they've played against them.
The biggest thing is Burrow is going to shred you. Literally the only way to stop him is just by getting to him. And if both their tackles are either not playing and banged up, Cody Ford was subbing in at left tackle for Orlando Brown. He actually looked like food. He's clearly struggling with the breakup with TT. She's now with Adrian Nunez. That's all public. He's probably struggling from that relationship going public. If both tackles don't play, you know who leads the league in sacks this year and pressures on the quarterback? The Denver Broncos. You have Benito, who's top in the league, getting to the quarterback. I mean, it's just a bad matchup. And then you have the best cover corner on the outside going against Jamar Chase when T's potentially banged up. It just feels like a recipe for success.
Casey
now that is as
absolutely
strong of
cooking.
a handicap.
That was
as
incredible.
you will hear.
Wait, but did you guys even catch the TikTok breakdown?
No,
Yeah,
I was thinking.
Okay, all right. Cool.
I've never felt more fucking old on this show than hearing like TTX breakup or whatever the fuck that. I assume that was like a Gen Z reference.
So, Cody Ford, backup tackle for the Bengals. TT was his girlfriend. She's one of those super viral wags on TikTok. He cheated on her. It went public, and now she's dating. She just went public with her new boyfriend, who also happens to be a very popular TikToker and ex-Michigan basketball player.
And that actually has some credence. Now that I understand the context, I feel like that actually is a good talking point.
Regardless, he just sucks. Breakup or no breakup, he's an awful football player, and if he's starting at left tackle, I think they're going to struggle to protect Burrow.
But this is all I was pointing out to you, is that handicap is what we've been attempting to do all season, when the answer is just Joe Burr makes dollars go Burr in the money machine, and like you just bet -3.5.
I mean,
Not
but
today.
when Casey sprinkles TikTok and a TT with, O-line versus D-line, little bit of a breakdown, depth chart, like, I think that, like, to me, that's money. That's
As I was
He's
talking,
dialed.
Tim felt a little something as I was going there.
Yeah.
And it made me feel a little something. Like, I mean, we could be hitting our peak in week 17 of the show.
Look, I know I spent the weekend sleeping in a bed with Tim, but the sexual tension through the computer screen right now is palpable.
It was the way he like wastes all this time with the initial handicap, and then he has the perfect answer ready. Whereas I do like Denver 3.5 as well. My thing would have just been like, look, the Titans were able to put up 30 on this team or whatever. I just think we've seen what they've done. And he just brings up, backup tackles. Like, that's whether he knows it because of TikTok or not, doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I was going to present, because I always love the conversation of, like, obviously on this show, we got to give sides. But if you love Denver because you think they're going to be able to score on the Cincy defense, do you suggest like the team total over in this spot? But I think you said, right, the pressure on Burrow, maybe they score a little less more than they're expected to. So I think the side is probably the play for you in this spot.
Yeah, that's
I think if I had to lean, I'd go Bengals are gonna win. I might try and fucking thread the needle. Give me 3.5 in money line. Fuck it.
See, that's where he loses.
Yeah, let's just okay.
Well, you go Bengals money line with Ravens money line, which is obviously free. That gets you to even odds, and then you get 3.5 with the Broncos.
You just bet Cincy to win by 4 or less. You just bet that.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah, or you just don't have to do 2 bets there.
Well, Ravens money line is free. I just want that finally on the record, but someone else can go now.
Obviously. Who is it? Speak now.
Go ahead, Tim.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. Gulp. Pittsburgh Steelers plus 2.5 at home hosting Kansas City on Christmas Day. Kansas City both these teams are very difficult handicaps, right? Because the Steelers can, always seem to play better than their power rating. They've been the luckiest team for the past 10 or so years. And at what point you just got to call it what it is. Meanwhile, this Kansas City team is basically doing the same thing. They are not nearly as good as their record. We can all agree on that. And now to me, the barometer here is you had Baltimore, not too long ago, laid 3.5 at Pittsburgh. Baltimore should have won the game, but Pittsburgh ends up winning outright. And now, not too long later, Kansas City lays 2.5 at Pittsburgh. To me, the difference between that tells me the difference between Baltimore and Kansas. I know it's not the perfect way to do it, but the difference between Baltimore and Kansas City is far greater than that. You check all the boxes. Tomlin at home. Tomlin as a dog. I know that last 2 weeks as a dog, Tomlin's underperformed, but I wasn't interested in playing Pittsburgh in those weeks. I didn't think that was really the time. I feel like this is the Tomlin dog time. I really like this year. This is to me, is a coin flip game. You're getting 2.5.
Yeah.
No one talking about the losses for Pittsburgh, in my opinion, not on the win-loss. Personnel. We constantly are having this conversation. How much does one player impact the line? Probably not as much as the public would think. But when you start to compile George Pickens, your wide receiver 1, at an already thin wide receiver position, Deshaun Elliott, who has been unbelievable for them this season, these things start to add up. They should get those 2 guys back. The only counter, I guess, Tim, I've obviously been lower on Kansas City than the rest of the world. Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, they're starting to look better, right? When we were handicapping them the last few weeks, it's because they just weren't explosive at all. I mean, and their defense was fading. Spags in December. I don't think Kansas City is going to go and win the Super Bowl again, but they are more, let's just say they'll be upgraded in my tiers coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah, I agree with the injuries. I think you get Joey Porter Jr. left the game, and then Deshaun Elliott wasn't there. They were playing without 2 of their secondary pieces. Lamar's obviously one of the better quarterbacks, but so is Mahomes. So they looked really depleted when those 2 went out. And like you said, the statistics for that offense with and without Pickens is actually insane. So
I'm under the assumption he's going to play.
Yeah, if all 3 of those guys are playing, I really, really like the Steelers as well.
You said 2.5. I agree that'll be contest line. Did you get a 3 yet? Do you think a 3 will pop?
I know 3 popped for like 2 seconds. I didn't get it.
I think it's
I'm
3 on
3
ESPN
right
Bet
now.
right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Tim's
I mean,
I know you're limited there.
Yeah, if you want to take a break.
To just complete the story a little bit, right? In May, this game was Kansas City -4. Can't we agree? Kansas City is drastically worse power rating wise than they were what we thought in May. And can't we agree that Pittsburgh is probably better than we thought they were power rated at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
And to me, sure. You're like, oh, okay, now we land on 2.5. I just think that gap's wider than that adjustment.
I guess they do need it. I was going to say maybe motivation problems for Pittsburgh, but they do need this because technically they can win the division if the Ravens drop to Houston, but they play before them. So I think
you can't say motivational issues when Mike Tomlin is the biggest rah dude in the fucking
Yeah,
league.
he's
they get up for every
and when they've
game.
lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, no, that's
I think that Baltimore game was a lot closer than the score actually depicts. They played actually really well without having their best weapon.
No, they did. Ravens fumbled 4 times. They picked up all 4. Wilson fumbles at the 5. The pick 6 makes it a 2-possession game. Like, you watch that game. I mean, they came back 17 all.
The Wilson fumble was a 14-point swing right there. I mean, that was the game.
Yeah. So there you go. And I'm also another part of this is I will be at a other side of the family Christmas Day. Huge Steelers family.
Wow. All right.
So I'm like,
I love that.
That helps, right? Let's root for the hometown team.
You hate the Steelers though, as a Patriots guy, no?
I have a lot of respect for the Steelers. A lot of respect.
Sure, but you hate them or you like them?
I don't hate them.
Own them, so they're
Patriots own that ass. So I think a lot of Patriots fans have like respect for about 2 teams: Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Tim, is Steelers teased? Is that a bad? I don't know your teaser principles.
Yeah, that's a fine teaser for me.
Okay, because I feel like a Steelers Ravens teaser is screaming my name.
Yeah,
no,
I don't
know. So remember, don't tease through 0, but nothing makes sense anymore. So do whatever.
No, if you want, depending on what your odds are, you parlay the Baltimore money line
with the alt spread.
Alt spread, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. The beauty of nowadays, they've got, you can attach them however you want. In the old days, you could just put 6 on something and you had to eat the point with the Ravens.
Right.
How did you handicap the Black Magic game end? Like, if there's ever a moment in time for the world to end, it's probably Steelers Chiefs on Christmas, a la Batman movie with the field imploding. Like, I could see that happening with the way these 2 teams play.
That obviously a huge part of it. I leave that probably to Casey. Like, Casey likes to ask me about trends. I'd ask about field explosions to Casey. I'd consult.
Yeah.
On
that. What we all know is that somebody is going to feel, because the spread is under a field goal. One ridiculous play is going to. They don't say one play defines the game. There's 60 more before that, but one play is going to be a flag or some fluke turnover that is going to have Twitter up in absolute arms while everyone is just sitting on their couch doing nothing. That I can tell you for free.
I'm not a cry about the refs guy. Like, I think you kind of create your own luck. I think, it all comes back around, all that sort of stuff. But I know what's going to happen is that the Chiefs are going to be either driving to put the game away or tie it, and Watt is going to sack Mahomes, and it's going to be roughing the passer.
Yeah, land on him full body. Yeah.
Here's an angle, though. Will the refs be a little less biased towards the Chiefs after that Tank Dell offensive pass interference that's been circulating everywhere? That was like the worst call in the fucking world.
It doesn't matter. So the funny thing for people who don't know about the Black Magic matchup going on here, Pittsburgh actually gets the short end of the stick in terms of flags. Every ball, besides the Ravens game on Saturday, seems to bounce right into their hands, and teams cough and throw up all over themselves. But flags definitely leans Chiefs. And then I see stats online that are like, Chiefs are actually 17th in EPA in flags this season. It's like, just the last 2 minutes of the game, any key play, right? It's not about the six yard holding penalty.
It's not the volume; it's the time they come.
Always the time.
This is also 3 games in 10 days for Kansas City. That's another part of this.
I think it's 3 games in 10 days for all both. 4 of these teams.
For all 4? Okay, never mind. Scratch that. Yeah.
But 10 days, and they got to go on the road. So you got that going for you.
Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Uppy.
Yeah,
give me that flight time.
As we all know, as I know now, that's probably like a 2-hour flight.
Yes, bang!
Let's go. The boys are dialed.
Kansas City's like dead center. It's not where Utah is. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Here's a good one. No way Uppy will be able to do this. How far do you think the drive is from Dallas to Phoenix?
This is a good one.
That is tough.
Why are we asking this?
Just to make me look like a fucking idiot. But
no, I don't think
the
I would know the
states
answer to
are
this.
side by side, but Dallas is more towards the right, whatever directionally that is, east.
Oh, right.
So it's probably about like a 7-hour drive.
That's what I said. That, to be fair, that's what
we
I
all
said.
thought
Yeah.
this was similar.
12?
This is a 15 and a half hour drive.
Why were we asking about this? Trying to get to both or something?
I was looking up
Yeah, we were trying to get Casey to go
SMU. If SMU had beat Penn State, I was like, well, they're fans. I'm like, oh, that's got to be a shorter drive to the Fiesta Bowl. Not a short drive.
Not a short drive.
America's
yeah, there was actually someone I was talking with this weekend, Case, that was like, I don't understand. The flight from Phoenix to LA is like 1 hour. Casey can't be at Fiesta New Year's Eve and at the Rose Bowl on New Year's. It made a good point.
I know a couple writers doing that double though, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they? Okay.
That's the fakest double I've ever heard.
All right, my pick for the week is the only team I think I know how to pick. It's the Ravens -5. I don't make this line more than 5. I actually would make it Houston +4. But at this point, it's just as simple as this. Lamar Jackson, in the month of December, in games he finishes, he got hurt in one of these games. He took an L on after only throwing 4 passes, 19-3. Lamar Jackson in prime time. We know his record there. It's absolutely fantastic. You're going to say, what about against the spread? I don't care about points, as we've discussed, because, road favorites, they just clean up in 2024.
System pick, system 2024 pick.
System play, COVID of life. The line actually just moved to 5.5. This opened 3.5. So I'm totally getting the absolute worst of it. The only news that has come out since is that Tank Dell is out. We knew that. So I think there's proof in the pudding here that Baltimore is the right side. 3.5. I was a little surprised by that line. By the contest, I'm sure I'll be betting it at like 6. So getting the absolute worst of it. But outside of just the December record and Lamar being awesome in prime time, Baltimore's offense, 4th all time in DVOA. So one of the best offenses that we have ever seen, led by Lamar Jackson. And since Kyle Hamilton is headed back into the secondary, replacing Marcus Williams, they are 1st in defensive DVOA. So as Tim mentioned on Guess the Line and betting the early lines on the channel, this Ravens team really does rate out really strongly. Higher than Kansas City, higher than Buffalo, not by major margins, but Kansas City lays 3.5 in this spot. And I think, yes, it's only one player with Tank Dell, but Stroud is just not playing good football right now. And if you isolate Nico, and you saw how Kansas City kind of limited Houston in that game, Joe Mixon couldn't get going. Ravens have one of the top defensive lines by rushing standards, similar to Kansas City, and then forcing him to throw to players like Dalton Schultz. And I feel like they're still trotting out Robert Woods out there. It just feels like with the way the offense is scoring for Baltimore, they could score 34 on anyone. And even though I think this Houston defense is fantastic, elite pass rushers, Lamar has just been invincible. It really hasn't mattered outside of that one dud he put up against Pittsburgh. So, yeah, we'll see what this line is. Like we said, we're doing the show a little bit early. I don't make this number like crazy in Baltimore's favor, but we are starting to move. And it seems to be the only team I can win a bet on this year.
I'll add in Baltimore, according to PFF, has played the hardest schedule in the NFL to date. And, they've a lot of people above the advanced stats have said that they are the strongest. 4 losses, 3 losses? How many losses?
5 loss now. They were the best 4-loss team.
Yes.
Now they're the best 5-loss team.
Best 5-loss team ever. So,
yeah. I mean, you've also got Tucker, right? Like where he's popped off. He cost the game a couple. He cost the team a couple games. He's now been perfect in his kicks since returning from the bye. So it seems like things are going well for the Ravens.
Yeah. My brain, I don't do records too. I couldn't tell you anyone's record because I just do power rating. I have no.
Yeah. Usually it should be like a cardinal sin to bet either the Ravens or Steelers going on the road on a short week after playing that game, but it does actually seem like, now these were walkthrough reports, but it seems like the Ravens, outside of Justice Hill's concussion, got out of there pretty healthy and not banged up, which is pretty rare, which is always something that I look for after we play the Steelers. And Houston on the other side, I don't know what the rest of it looked like, but losing Tank Dell is not a small injury for sure. And who knows? You only get Stroud 4 days to recover from losing his best friend. So
one thing that just popped in my mind as you talk about Ravens Steelers. Ravens played Houston twice last year. Once week 1, so we kind of threw that away. Rookie quarterback on the road. I think Ravens were healthy 7-point favorites and dominated. And then again in the playoffs after Stroud had this incredible rookie season, and people were a little scared, especially with the way Nico was moving. And at that point they had Tank. And once again, just absolutely stifled them. And it was close to the half, but then Lamar kind of just unlocked it. It's funny, like the 2 times these 2 teams played last season, I was the one that walked away from it being like, Houston's a really good team. And that defense scares me. And it still does on paper. And they are one of the best defenses in the NFL. For whatever reason, Lamar has 0 struggles with this defense. And it doesn't fully make sense to me because their corners are elite. Their pass rush is elite. Things that would trouble any quarterback, and it does. But Lamar's just seen so much success against Houston. So I expect another 4-touchdown, 28, 31-point performance from them. I think the Ravens can limit them to 24 or less.
Yeah, last thing, I just looked it up. These are walkthrough reports. But Will Anderson, Fatou Kassi, Shaq Mason, and Jimmy Ward all did not participate. Again, that is projections from, I don't know who makes the projections when the social team
it's an estimation. It's an estimation.
They basically say if we had practiced in full, who would have participated.
Right. I don't know who gives.
And Case, to be fair, Falele, one of your starting guards, Zay Flowers, they were out on this estimation. So the Ravens did have a
no, it's a grain of salt, but that's 3 of their probably 7 best defensive players.
There's just no way that me betting a heavy road favorite could lose. Like the system is automatic this season. Yeah. Come on, that's a lot.
Uppy.
Yeah, that's a good transition to my pick. Another road favorite. We're going with the Chargers, laying 4.5. Actually, looks like this might be 5 now, but this is really simple. Patriots fucking stink. Chargers are pretty good. I think that was very inspiring against the Broncos, and I don't think the Patriots have a semblance of defense like that. Patriots are also 32nd in the league on the ground, so very one-dimensional team. Now you have Jesse Minter, who has a week to prepare for May, a rookie quarterback who, granted, has been playing fairly well. I was not high on him at all coming out of college, but I'm obviously not a scout, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But I just think this is a tough spot for the Patriots. I know they're not going to quit. These are professional athletes that are being paid millions of dollars, but motivational spot. Chargers obviously need a win to make the playoffs. I like that a lot more. One last note, Harbaugh, 26-7 ATS as a favorite of 6 or fewer points. So just a good spot for the boys. Per the Action Network, one of Tim's former.
What do you quote? I was looking something else up. What do you quote?
It's he said that Jim Harbaugh is 26-7 as a favorite of 6 or more points. ATS
6 or fewer.
6 or fewer.
I can do that right now.
I mean, I'm not even saying that's wrong. That just shocks me. That seems like an insane. I feel like that record would be touted everywhere, right?
Not everyone gets deep into the numbers like
Uppy.
So.
No, I know that, but
I wouldn't give credit to the public. The guy's 11-7 for a reason, or whatever it is.
No, we follow this shit so closely that, have you ever heard his? Maybe because he was in college for all those years, there was a little gap in the record. But
I think we just kind of forget how dominant those Niners teams were.
Niners, yeah. Okay.
As a favorite of 6 or fewer, Uppy, you said?
Yeah.
As a favorite of 6 or fewer, Jim Harbaugh, include regular season and playoffs, 29-11-1 ATS.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay. All right. Fuck yeah. I'll vouch for it. I didn't really understand the Buffalo New England line just because cold divisional matchup. I didn't think Buffalo, yeah, they had looked really good offensively, but I don't know. They didn't seem like a team that was going to just smoke the doors off them. Patriots led 14-0, and they were not even close to winning the game. Like they are levels of atrocious that, I mean, I'm sure Tim could spend the next 3 hours talking about. But yeah, I don't think, even accounting for home field, flying across the country, like all the different factors here, I think that line was off, and this line is much better for the Chargers.
The barometer I'm using here is the Rams laid 4.5 at New England. May played the best game. I think the Patriots as a whole probably played one of their best games, and they still couldn't cover the number. So I think the Chargers should be valued in the same way, and I'm not surprised the money went that way. It's a mismatch kind of on all the levels, and look, these road favorites up here, like it's I think larger discussion for another day, but I feel like the disparity between I think there's a lot of teams at the top that are like, like you have Minnesota and Green Bay. What's the difference between them and Detroit and Baltimore? But then the bottom half of the league is just like they're all the same. Like the Titans, the Raiders, like those teams are all the same. And then it's like, but the gap between that top or upper echelon tier and the bottom, I think, is just wider than a lot of people are considering.
Yeah. No, I noticed that in my power ratings as well.
There you go. So you notice things.
Like,
yeah.
No, it's just like, how do you rate the Saints with, Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler against Detroit? Like, at what number am I not clicking the button? Like, the gap has never been larger. And then it's funny because as college football, like, there was so much parity this season, and it felt like things got closer there. In the NFL, it's just, I mean, the Titans, at what number would you back them against any of the top teams in the league? Like, there's just not a number.
And I will plug Sam Hoppin on Twitter. He does like a composite power ranking of a bunch of people's numbers, and it's good to see like where you would compare these teams. And look, these teams at the bottom, it's like the composite for the Giants. They're a 9-point dog to a average team, and it's like like that's insane. So you're Buffalo and the Giants going into Week 16 on a neutral. That would have been 16.5. And it's like, that number is still not big enough. It should be 26.
Like, I think when they do, like, how would Kentucky fare against the Hornets, or how would Alabama do against the worst team in the NFL? Like, obviously it would be 34 points. If there was an incredible college football team this year, like, I don't even know if some of the players on some of these teams are like NFL caliber players. Like, I think there's legit college kids who are levels above some of these NFL players.
Well, I mean, not to go on a tangent here, but say like that LSU offense with Burrow. I mean, you had Jamar Chase, you had Justin Jefferson.
Right. So even accounting for age, and you've got Queen on the defensive side, Stingley on the defensive side, like, versus some of these teams, obviously they would still be 3 touchdown, dogs. But it does. I'd love to see that
LSU offense against like the Giants defense or something. That would be.
Yeah, it's hard to separate now from them, but obviously Jefferson Chase Burrow against that Giants defense right now would be a joy to watch. All right, where are we gonna go? The Packers haven't not covered yet. They're obviously not covering. It's part of our consensus, but who do we like as a group?
So I went away from a COVID play for my pick. I'd like to come back to a COVID play if everyone will have me. I'm taking the Rams -5.5. If anyone likes that, the Cardinals officially eliminated. Uppy, you could just drop that clip again. I was sitting in this exact seat when I said they should be last in the division. They're going to finish last in the division. The Rams, they escape, as we said, a cold MetLife with not only a win, but a cover. You go back to SoFi. They've dropped 2 duds in a row in cold weather. They were in San Francisco. It was pouring on that Thursday night game. They put up 12 points. Then cold MetLife, the offense doesn't look good. You're coming home against a team that I think has given up. Trey McBride left the tunnel and said, God damn, that defense just sold. We're hot ass, or something along the lines of that. I think the Cardinals are packing it in. Kyler's short. And I like the Rams, who need this, obviously, to continue to win the division with Seattle behind them. Give me the Rams to win by a touchdown. What do we think?
I just want to one-up you with the COVID play. Like, why wouldn't we just take the Lions minus 3.5? It's everything you just said. It's the Lions are fucking monsters. The Niners have given up. They've lost half their team to injuries. They don't care. They just lost to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They're the best team in the history of covering football. They can't be stopped. Like, why wouldn't we just go there?
So Arizona was on the road, played in overtime against the Panthers, and now you get a Saturday game. Not that it's a big difference, because the Rams have to travel back across the country for a Saturday game too. It just feels more demoralizing for the Cardinals to get eliminated by Bryce Young.
I think all you're saying is baked in.
No, it 100% is. This isn't a number thing. It's a COVID play. It's not a 5.5. That's a good number play. It would be a
right. So why wouldn't we take the better COVID play? The team that actually all they can do is cover and score 4 million points a game.
Yeah, I mean, Lions feels. I mean, if someone explained to me how that line is 3.5, like that just. Tim, can you just try and explain to me how that line is 3.5?
So going into week 16, the composite ratings here that I have would have had the Lions 5 on a neutral.
Right. So that's correct. Then you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. The question is, have we downgraded the 49ers enough? Because when I'm looking at this let me just, NetFlow does have San Francisco as the 18th best team in the league going into week 16. They might have downgraded them again. I'll just read a couple people. Niners, number 8, number 9, number 9, number 8, number 17, number 11, number 18. So it's a big disparity of what you think of them. They're
18 feels like the correct place for them to be like in the NFL right now. The only positive I would go for the Niners is that Debo finally got going, and that definitely adds a dimension to their offense, but that's about all I can give them.
Let's just do it and say Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm trying to see that the Niners, I'm looking at some just counting stats here. Niners second in the NFL in yards allowed per game and third in passing, only allowing 183 passing yards per game. When? When have I watched a Niners game and it's just like, wow, their pass defense just is swallowing people. Week 1 against
Penix Daniels on Sunday Night Football is kind of electric. I didn't even see that was the Sunday night game.
Is that inflated from number one, that Rams slog with the 49ers, that the Bears couldn't do anything against the 49ers?
Bills in the snow.
Yeah. So they played.
No, it probably is.
That probably helps us here with that, fake box score type counting stat. Right.
Yeah, I mean, up to you guys. Like, I agree with you. The line should be 4 max. If you say you love the lines, maybe 4.5. It's definitely not like
feels like is going to be the biggest public play. Everyone's always like, yeah, Vegas made the call. I don't.
That shit cashes every time.
No. I think the Lions standalone Monday night game is going to be the biggest public bet maybe in NFL history. I think they genuinely might call it in. No, I think they might call it in. Like, actually,
all right, here. I'll play devil's advocate because I'm sure there's.
I'm trying to go Christmas shopping because I haven't done anything. Let's just call it the Lions and let me fucking go home.
All right, hold on. Let me just for the person out there who's actually thinking this is the biggest lock ever. A weird spot because they then play Minnesota for the division and the 1 seed. Right, this game does not. If I have my records right,
with the Eagles loss, you're right.
So they would know by Monday night if Minnesota wins, right? So you do have a potential look ahead, and just because Josh Allen said in the press conference that they weren't using all their stuff against New England. I mean, Ben Johnson pulled off a fake stumble up 13 against the Bears, so it seems like he doesn't care to save anything. But
let's go with the Rams.
No,
what
Detroit. We just were doing
Detroit? All right, fuck it. I don't see how.
Oh, the other one I was gonna throw out. I'm with Tim. Raiders feels like a great bet to me.
I just don't want to get.
What about Carr?
Too many question marks. Let's
not bet the Raiders Saints game.
All right, let's bite kneecaps. Let's bite kneecaps.
All right,
let's go.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. That's week 17. Consensus always loses, so.
Sorry, Lions fans. Sorry, Lions fans. Just one thing. We don't have underdog picks just because all those numbers aren't going to be up yet. But shout out to us for hitting our 10X on underdog. Appreciate you guys. We'll post our little squad ride here on the Snapback Bets social accounts closer to the weekend. Tim, last thing. Set the line. Ohio State, Texas, in Dallas. What do you think it'll be?
The line will be Texas -1.5.
No
Open.
shot.
Texas
Off of us beating
open.
Oregon?
Texas right now is the favorite to win the national championship. Probably baked
But that's
in
only
the
because they don't have.
Yeah.
That's only because they have the free pass.
I'm not making the line. So if you can't. Bet,
No, you literally
bet,
made the line.
No, but I'm not. Like, you can't, I don't take action. So by all means.
It wouldn't shock me if it's 1.5 because of
the Dallas.
Dallas, yes, I think, but I agree.
Sure.
I think it closes as close to a pick'em as we've seen
and
a
Ohio
football
State
line.
dog walks them by fucking 17.
That's gonna be fun. All right. Appreciate you guys. Merry
the
Christmas.
Eyes of Texas,
are upon
Yo, end this
you.
Uppy now.